This title isn't clickbait. I may have actually solved who was behind the breach at Modrinth servers thanks to some undeniable evidence provided to me by others, but I'll get back to that when it's relevant. All you need to know right now is that this is an insane story about an employee who sold out and betrayed their friends for only $300 and got caught doing it in honestly the most stupid way I could ever imagine. And it all came crashing down to her own video. So this is a story of the person who was behind the Pyro incident. First, some background. On the 20th of January, Pyro, the company behind the popular Modrinth servers, was breached, with its database and deployment tokens being leaked to an outsider party, who then proceeded to rename thousands of files to the N-word, and proceeded to mess around with 3 random people's servers for seemingly no reason. After that, they proceeded to try and extort 1 Ethereum, which was around $3,000 at that point, which failed when the Pyro team plugged the hole in their services and proceeded to make sure that nothing like this can ever happen again, as they hired some more cybersec people. I explained it in more detail in this video, and I also have an interview on the channel with the CEO Ellie about the incident and how they aim to prevent it in the future. The important factor here is to remember that there was no consumer data taken or exposed, so the only thing the hacker managed to do was meddle around in the backend a little bit, and that's it. The question here is, why? Why did someone hack into an upstarting server host just as they got into a lucrative deal with one of the biggest mod hosting platforms at the moment? Was it possibly a jealous rival? After all, Pyro did take the supposed spot that Bisect used to have. Well, it turns out that the answer was much closer to home than anyone could have ever suspected. Meet our first subject, A. Now, A was a non-paid employee at Pyro, as many are at the moment. They were basically onboarded to do some back-end tasks, but due to illness, they were put on the backup list, as someone who isn't actively working on the team, but is still in the entire team. So why should she be suspicious then? Hardly seems like the person who would stand the game from Pyro suffering a reputation loss and the possibility of a paycheck gone wrong. Well, it all started with this screenshot, where A bragged about selling a bot token for the grand total of $500. Now, a screenshot isn't proof. Let's just say that from now. There's a lot of screenshots in here, but they're not concrete proof, and Ellie knew that, so they asked me to follow the lead. And after being sent a zip file full of screenshots of past behavior and recent evidence from a person named Faceless Lord, so I decided to hear him out. You maybe first explain what owes to you, right? The domain and the how many dollars is it?
200.
$200.
200 euro.
And this was from the Discord, the client thing you did in a Discord. Yeah. Where she handled the payments and did it all.
Yeah.
It turns out he's not the only one with issues here. Almost everyone I talked to either had a bad interaction before with her, or is actively avoiding her when possible. With some of the previous incidents including, but not limited to, swatting another creator by the name of Marlow, scamming Facelord out of 200 USD and a domain name, and so on. Now these are big claims to leverage to someone, so what evidence do we have to back all this up? Well, mainly screenshots, which aren't concrete, again. But what about a confession? Also something about swatting?
Like I've mentioned, all of this stuff was like, I guess 2023. That's why I guess I just try to just leave all that stuff behind. Yeah, I'll admit that stuff because I've changed since then. And that's why I've also been unbanned from all these communities. So even I've been unbanned from Marlo's community. I'm like,
yeah,
we're like okay friends again. She's forgiven me, etc. So.
And why is this important? Well, because A usually came off as somewhat of a friendly figure in my interactions with her, and anyone at Pyro would suggest that she was harmless, if not a little bit weird. She even went as far as going to state that she was the victim of a harassment campaign and not the other way around. Because let's be honest, right now the internet isn't the kindest when it comes to anyone, especially not if you're in the LGBTQ community. So these claims of her being a horrible person came out of such a left field that it turned all the way back to the right again. But let's recap. So far we have an allegation of swatting, which was confirmed, an allegation of stealing 200 USD and a domain name, just a bunch of screenshots backing it up, and really scummy past behavior. And those scummy behavior I will not show because they don't have any bearing on the story, and they're already from the past, so why would I show them? But it should be noted that the person the Pyro team knew and the people who actually knew her before are two entirely different people. But Lunar, I hear you ask from your ivory tower, what does this all have to do with this entire situation? Well, let's actually get into that. After talking to Faceless Lord, like the Sherlock Stones I am, I was put into contact with the buyer of the backdoor access. This buyer named himself Old School RuneScape Enjoyer, and proceeded to do a little bit of a standoffish act here, potentially because he was afraid to go to jail. Regardless, he offered me to show the transfer of 300 USD in a stablecoin called Tether on the local coin swap exchange, again in the form of Tether. This money was then transferred into a Revolut account, and that's where the trail ends. Or so it seemed. Then how did they know you use Revolut? I know it's a more popular thing in
Revolut,
the UK.
okay, basically, so they know I use Revolut because I use it to take payments for my client. And that's how, because the tickets were open and EFO and actually not EFO, but Faceless Lord had access to them. And that's how we took credit card payments.
But A kept denying those claims on the ground that there are just screenshots and there has been a harassment campaign. But at this point, I had hundreds of so-called fake screenshots and an actual crypto account with only one transaction ever being done in the form of a Revolut payment. So, is this plausible? Yes, it is plausible that A did it. Definitive? No. In the back of my mind, I kept wondering why. What does she have to do with any of this, and why would she sell out the people she worked for only 300 USD? It just didn't make sense. And why would anyone then just buy that access to just troll 3 servers and change every file name to a slur? And then I got this. Another screenshot. Yes, but trust me, after this, we're getting some real evidence. In this one, the buyer told her not to rename everything to a racial slur, which was based, because he would lose access for the thing he paid for. A little bit less based. Now, these are, again, some serious allegations. Obviously, I confronted her about these screenshots, and while she does deny it, pay close attention to how she denies it.
The thing is, I don't even know how to access the DB even if I wanted to. Because, if I'm being honest, ever since I've joined Pyro, I've basically done nothing. I know nothing really.
No, because you're put on a reserve.
Yeah, so I literally know nothing. So why would I know how to do the DB stuff to begin with?
I mean, you were onboarded.
Yeah, but even then, I know nothing about how stuff works.
What kind of backend staff doesn't know how to operate a database? Something that Ali, the CEO of Pyro, and the person who onboarded A pointed out as a complete falsehood. So we got Faceless Lord supplying me with information via screenshots because she allegedly scammed him. Meanwhile, we got this RuneScape guy deflecting all the blame while simultaneously saying he isn't afraid to go to jail because he actually didn't do anything wrong. And we got the CEO saying that she actually was lying. All of this is still daunting, but still not concrete. Until I got this video. After 3 days of waiting and digging, I finally got the proof that wasn't just a link or a screenshot. An actual video of a group chat A bragged about selling out, with her actual Discord idea being shown as well as it matching the one I was currently talking to. And I sent this over to Pyro as proof, and they swiftly fired her on the grounds that she was not actually doing anything. Now, you'd think that if you got caught into something like this, you'd stay low. You would say nothing. You would just bide your time, hire a lawyer, and get your job back. Maybe move to Mexico or something, right? But no. A decided to go into a Discord named AdminCraft to complain, eventually creating this video saying, "It's easy to fake screenshots, guys, just watch me, downloading Photoshop." Now, I invite you to look at this part of the video. Do you happen to recognize this group chat? Yes, that's right. That's the same group chat I got a video of where she bragged about selling out. She just linked herself with the incriminating evidence. Honestly, man, this is even funnier than that one time this scientist turned into a pickle. But regardless, with that all being said, I've shown you everything I have, so let's get to a conclusion. For as much as we have proved that she was in that chat and that she did brag about selling off the tokens, we didn't prove definitely, beyond all reasonable doubt, that she was the one asking for Ethereum, or the one changing the names to racial slurs. These are just circumstantial evidences at best. But I believe this is too much to fake. Coupled with their lies and denying allegations and a general focus on money in every conversation with Pyro and others, it seemed more likely that she was involved. But I've chosen to keep her anonymous in this video, as I don't believe she deserved to be attacked into oblivion, as again, people's lives shouldn't be destroyed or marked because they make mistakes like these. So please, if you think it's okay to go harass someone because they did something like this or because of any other reason, get off my channel. I don't condone harassment or any kind of that. And neither should you. The internet is already a very, very dark place right now. We don't need it darker. But in either case, apparently $300 is enough to sell your friends out. So if you're watching, Gibby, watch your fucking back, buddy. But anyways, I was Lunar. You were very awesome. And I'll see you next time.